Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. It's been about a year now since I've been doing top 5 videos, and somehow I never made a video on a top 5 Hussar civilizations list, and that is crazy because I'm supposed to be the Hussar guy. I make them pretty much every single game if I can, and I think the unit is great, fun to play with, you can't go wrong with it, but somehow I'm not including it in my videos. So shame to me, and it's better late than never, so I figured, okay, let's go ahead and do it right now, and hopefully the viewers will enjoy it nonetheless. So starting off at number 5. Alright, kicking off the list, we've got a civilization that never makes any of my top 5 lists, even though I love this civ and I think it's really fun to play, but sadly it just doesn't really perform like you want it to. That is the Bulgarians. Say what you want about the Bulgarians, they've got some holes in the tech tree, they're missing crossbowmen, they don't get the last armor on skirmishers, they're missing a few options here or there, they might not have the greatest economy, but they've got some very solid Hussars, and I'm talking about, of course, the fully upgraded Hussars that also have the unique tech called stirrups that is applied to them. Stirrups is a crazy technology because faster attacking Hussars are really good. Not only do you have like a really powerful unit now if it's like 30 Hussars versus 30 Hussars, but there's actually a situation that is very common in the late game. You send 3 Hussars to raid, your opponent matches you with, let's say, 3 Hussars, or even 1 Hussar, he matches you with 1 Hussar, but you always win in equal numbers. And if your Hussar wins and you have only 1 Hussar left with like 10 HP, that is huge because that guy will continue to raid and villagers can't really fight it because villagers do 1 damage to Hussar in late game. And so you can see, even if you win the small engagements with Bulgarians versus generic Hussar civs, you will get a massive advantage just because your Hussars who survive will continue to raid and distract your opponent and potentially pick off countless villagers. And so the Bulgarians have an amazing tool in the late game, which is the Stirrups Hussar. Obviously, Stirrups also affects their Cavalier and their Conics, but this video is about Hussars, so I stop here and let's move on to number 4. Alright, number 4 is an interesting one. I thought about putting it actually at number 5 and putting Bulgarians in its place, but I decided number 4 belonged to Turks. Now, the reason why I really love Turks for Hussars is for 2 things, and it's the 2 bonuses they get. First of all, they get the Light Cav upgrade and the Hussar upgrade for free, which is saving you a lot of resources. Light Cav costs 200 resources, so 150 food and 50 gold, and then the Hussar upgrade costs 600 gold and 500 food, and that is another 1100 resources. So 1300 resources. The research time is saved as well, so you get it as soon as you age up to Castle, then Imperial Age, and then you just have the Hussar on the field right away, and I think that's a really good bonus, and I think it's just that alone makes it a really strong Hussar civ. However, they also get the Pierce armor on their Hussars, and that is a really strong bonus to help the Turks be a top tier Hussar civilization. As you guys know, Pierce armor is king. It's very, very strong for Hussars because being able to tank archers and castle and TC fire is basically the best thing a Hussar can do. If you can tank these arrows, you're able to stay longer in your opponent's economy, you're able to take better fights, you're able to snipe siege more easily. And think of it this way, if you've got a melee armor extra, your opponent hitting you is going to be like, okay, doing some 1 less damage when they hit you a few times with melee units. But you're taking like 40 arrows. You're getting hit like 5 times in melee combat, but when you're taking pierce damage, it's like 40 arrows, 30 arrows that come at you. So taking 1 less damage every single time, that really adds up. So pierce armor is huge for raiding units, and the Turks get that free pierce armor on all their Hussars. Alright, moving on to number 3. As I'm recording this, I'm noticing that I've actually made a mistake. Okay, let's just lay down the situation. I have here on my list, number 3 is the Tatars. The Tatars are a very solid civilization. However, they're quite similar to the Turks. The only thing special they have on the Hussars is the Castle Age unique technology that gives them +1 melee armor and +1 pierce armor on their Hussars. This makes the Tatar Hussar objectively better than the Turks Hussar because you have an extra melee armor compared to the Turks. However, I honestly made a mistake because Turks getting the Hussar upgrade for free is, in my opinion, much better and much more effective at playing Hussars than the Tatars. Also, the Tatars have to pay and get the unique tech to get the extra armor and the extra pierce and melee armor, whereas the Turks get the extra pierce armor for free. So although the Tatar Hussar will be stronger on paper compared to the Turks, I think the Turks get a much better overall bonus for the Hussars. So for the first time ever in a top 5 list, we're going to make a switch up mid-video. Tatars drop to number 4 and Turks all the way up to number 3. They are the underdog civilization. They made it to number 3. The crowd goes wild. Everyone's clapping their hands while watching this video, I'm sure. Turks number 3, Tatars number 4. Yes, they get the really strong Hussar with extra melee armor, extra pierce armor, super solid, but you have to pay for all of that, and I think that makes it slightly worse than the Turks. But of course, if you spawn in late game, the Tatars will have the better Hussar, so a few points going that way for that purpose or that reason. Anyways, we've spent too much time here as it is. Let's move on to number 2 and put this drama behind us between the Turks and the Tatars. All right, moving on to number 2. There's been a lot of drama, but here it is. This one's going to be drama-free, I promise. Can't really argue with this one. We've got the Magyars. And number 2 being Magyars, that sounds really solid. What's number 1? I wonder. I think you guys can guess probably at this point. But number 2, the Magyars, very solid Hussar civilization. Now, not only do you get all the attack upgrades for free at the blacksmith, but you also get cheaper Hussar line. 15% cheaper is no joke, and that's very solid. It actually impacts even the scout rush, but let's talk only about Hussars for the time being. You still get 15% cheaper Hussars. However, that's not enough to put them at number 2, because guess what? Berbers get 20% cheaper in Imperial Age for the Hussars. What pushes Magyars over the edge is the option to make the Magyar Hussar. I'm kind of cheating here because maybe the drama's coming back. I'm kind of cheating here because the Magyar Hussar is technically not a Hussar, technically. However, I'm going to count it for this one because it fits the same purpose, and the Magyar Hussar is crazy good. It has better stats than the Hussar, and it also has an attack bonus against siege, making it a very effective unit at sniping siege. It's also better in combat, and so for a raiding unit, the Magyar Hussar is fantastic. It also costs no gold once you get the unique upgrade, unique tech, and it's a very cheap one in Castlage, so the Magyar Hussar ends up just being a better version of the regular Hussar. The only problem for the Magyar Hussar is the fact that you need a castle to make it, and that is the only downside. If you can make it from the stable, it would be much better. Like, it'd be like literally twice as good as the regular Hussar. I'm just putting that number out there. But since you need a castle, sometimes you can't get that much production of it, but that's the only downside. Aside from that, it is a powerhouse of a late game unit, and it feels like a gold unit despite costing you $0. All right, before I show you guys the very obvious number 1, let's talk about some honorable mentions real quick. I already talked about Berbers. Let's go through it quickly. 20% cheaper Hussars, 15% in Castle Age for the light calf, 20% in Imperial Age. Pretty solid bonus. You get fully upgraded Hussars as well. That definitely was close to making the list. And then, of course, you've got the Mongols, which have amazing Hussar, and there's nothing wrong with them except one thing: missing the last armor upgrade from the blacksmith. And remember, the Pierce armor, the +2 Pierce armor that you get from the last armor upgrade is huge. Missing that for the Mongols makes them vulnerable to Castle Fire, Town Center Fire, Arbalest, Mangudai if it's a mirror match, a lot of things. And the Mongol Hussar kind of melt like butter when they're against heavy arrow fire. But aside from that, they're really good in melee combat with the extra HP, and they definitely deserve a spot somewhere on this list. All right, now the very obvious number 1. Oh, who could have guessed it? Let's just put it out there. It's gonna be the Poles, guys. Let's be honest here. Winged Hussar, insane. Fully upgraded Winged Hussar, except the last armor upgrade, which you could make an argument makes the Poles Hussar slightly worse than some of the other Hussars on the list. However, I don't think so, because it's the unique tech in Imperial Age. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce it for the Poles. That's what pushes the Hussar over the edge. That's what makes the Winged Hussar for the Poles really freaking OP. It's the fact that you got trample damage, which makes them win every like 30 versus 30 Hussar fight. The Poles will win because of the trample damage. It also makes them really good at jumping onto big groups of Arbalest, for example, because of the trample damage. The trample damage really just makes the Pole Hussar so freaking strong and borderline unfair to play against. It feels like a gold unit when you're using it, and it's just a really strong civilization in general to spam the Hussars with. Not to mention the farming bonus, especially with crop rotation, that goes very crazy in the late game for the Poles. So in my opinion, it is the Hussar Civ, the perfect Hussar Civ, but the one weakness, the Achilles heel of missing the last arm upgrade, suffering from the success that the Mongols have suffered from, and it is the one downside I'd imagine for the Poles Hussar. If they had that, it would be absolutely busted. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video of the top 5 Hussar civilizations. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you didn't, still do those things because you're watching my videos till the very end. Like, what are you, a hater or what's going on? Just do those things because they help out and they're free. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care and bye for now.